Hello, welcome to Ludo Lingo episode 4. I actually done this 3 times in a week now. I already messed up. I can't start over. I'm doing this live. See, this is where I would normally say it again and like cut that part out. 3 weeks in a row is what I meant to say. So we're doing great. Yeah, I'll cut it after. Yeah. Except I won't. What are we doing today? Well, I am revisiting the thing I did on the first episode, where I made up some keywords, some nonsense, frankly, and I'm gonna try to get people to guess what game I'm referring to by word association. And then I also have some screenshots that are blurred to try to annoy people with. So I'll do that first. Then I want to talk about what I've been playing, which of course is the 3D Mario games and Hades 2. And then we got the topic of the week, which is, what are your expectations from sequels? What do you like to see in a sequel? What do you not like to see in a sequel? What types of sequels do you like? You can talk about whatever you want, as long as it has to do with sequels or games that are follow-ups to other games in the same series. They don't have to be, quote-unquote, a direct sequel to count in this conversation, though maybe that difference is what determines your opinion on the question in the first place. So that's what I plan to do. In the what I've been playing section, also, if there's anybody here that wants to contribute with things that they've been playing and what they think about the game, that will also be part of that. So we will do that. Might have somebody get on the mic, talk about something they've been playing, perhaps. And yeah, let's start. So I have the video ready here, and I'm gonna whip it out. I'm gonna turn off this for now. I'm gonna turn on this. Where is it? Can't find it. Okay, there we go. Too large. Let me de-large myself. It should be mostly out of the way here. Mostly. Now, these are going to be ranging from guessable to you're probably not going to guess them. Okay? But that's fine, because I'm just here to derive joy in my own heart. People not being able to understand what I'm trying to convey with these words. It pleases me. So, let us begin. See if anybody can guess. I believe all of these, I think I have 8 of them. I believe all of these are video game titles. I was going to do something else with it, but I don't think I did. I'll find out when I get there. I don't really remember, even though I did it today. A few hours ago, I made this. You'd think I would remember, clearly. But I believe the answers to all of these are video game titles. So, here we go. You're going to see words appear on the screen, and you need to write in the chat what game you think I'm trying to invoke with the word, just by association. Okay. Let's play. First word. Pandora. Does anyone have a guess just based on the word Pandora? And if somebody guesses the right answer, I will not tell you. I'm just going to keep going. We got a God of War guess. Got a I mean it's not Borderlands guess. We have a jewelry guess. We have a box boy. We have Hades. We have Avatar. Okay. Look at all these different answers. Look at all these different answers, and they all make sense. Wow. Let's look at some more. Let's look at the next word and see if anybody wants to change their answer or guess. You can guess as many times as you want. What's... Oh god, I forgot I wrote that. It pained me to write that, but I wrote it. I did. I wrote it. Schloot. Made me think of splooge. If anybody has, if that clarifies for anybody, feel free to guess again or reinforce a guess, whatever. Let's get the third word. Made it even worse. Pandora Schloot Protocol. Yep. That's it. Psycho. Solemn with the Borderlands 4. Eddie with the Borderlands 3. Eddie with the No 2. Ranwid with the Metal Gear Solid 2. Feeling more Borderlands, says King of Dorkslayer. I started off easy. Well, in quotes, easy here. Solemn, literally, you were like, I mean, it's not Borderlands. Probably going off past experience of me intentionally misleading people with the first word. But it actually is. This one was a little bit more straightforward. I know. They range. I'd said they range from how literal they are. Honestly, I thought of Borderlands and then I was like, oh, I could write the word schloot. By the way, that it means it's a really dumb way of shortening looter shooter into like schluter, and it's the worst, and you should never say it. And I want to like cut my tongue off for saying it and writing it down, but I did. All right. Good job. Good job. Next one. Some of these are not that straightforward. Don't say that at dinner parties. Dude, I literally made this 3 hours ago and I consistently forget what I wrote. Borderlands was the answer. Yes. That was the answer. The answer is there's always 3 hints and then the answer. 9 inches. I can't. My favorite part of this is just explaining afterwards what these mean and how much I know. You just hate me after I explain. I don't think anyone's getting it off of this. Any game that is a good time. Polybius? What am I saying something I shouldn't be saying? What is that? I don't know what that is. Are these games you've played recently or any game? No, it can be anything. It can be anything. There's games on here that I have not played. Ever. But I know of. I didn't pick like extreme. I'm never going to pick like extremely obscure games that like nobody knows about. But next one. It Takes Two. Okay, so this, I went from a pretty straightforward one with the first game to these hints are extremely obscure. And if anybody were to guess the game based off of these two, you are like, you're inside my brain and you think in the most ridiculous way. And I applaud you for that. I would wager that it's nearly impossible to put these together. But I will explain afterwards. The third hint, I believe, is more straightforward. I already don't remember what it is, but I believe it's not as ridiculous as these two. Let's find out. Solemn with the split fiction guess. Rhythm. Huh? Now, maybe it is guessable. I feel like it was extremely difficult based off the first two. Much more doable now. What are you saying, Ranwood? Dance Dance Revolution, says King of Dorksire. Eddie says Neon White. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Yeah, Ranwood, I know. I just wasn't going to say it out loud. No! I was about to... But why? Can you explain why? Why did you just guess that, Chomps? You couldn't think of the name? Is it... This is what you were thinking about? You can? You can explain? Because there's very specific reasons for the first two. The first one might be more obvious now. The second one, maybe not. Can anyone understand the connection between the second phrase and the game? Because it's absurd. The main character has a 9-inch dong. No. That is not... Well, I mean, it might be true. It could be true. I can't say it's not true. And the second main character also does. Yeah, that's the first two hints are tied together. What? Are you kidding me? Wow. That's insane. Okay, so no, you don't play as two characters. Yeah, Nine Inch Nails. There's a song in the game by them. Obviously, it's a rhythm game, but yes, it takes two to tango is a phrase, and the company that made the developer's name is Tango GameWorks. I saw I was like, yeah, that's Tango that made that, and I was like, and then I just like associated it with that phrase, and then wrote that, and knew that it would be confusing because that's the name of a game, also. Yeah, yeah, that's how I got there. All right, next one. Joker. Joker. I'm Batman. Balatro. Cards. Mm. Mm. We're going in directions. Could it be? Could it be Persona 5? Three things that are related to a Joker. Batman, Balatro, Persona 5, Solitaire. It could just be Solitaire. What's next? What is next? Console Wars. What? What is this guy talking about? I just broke the pen that I was holding. Whoops. What is this? Joker and Console Wars. What game am I talking about that's remotely related to both of these things at once? I don't know. No further guesses. Okay. What if I add a third, more obvious clue? I mean, it's not that obvious. It's only obvious if you already know what I'm talking about. Hoverboards. Anybody? Anybody? Anybody putting the pieces together? Sonic Riders. Three. You also agree? Not quite. Sonic Racing Crossworlds. Joker is a playable character, and yes, it is the Persona 5 Joker in Sonic Racing Crossworlds, the one that just came out a few weeks ago. Console Wars, because they released a trailer for the game when it launched of them directly like making fun of Mario Kart, basically. And then there's hoverboards in it. Feels a little bit same thing. Sonic Riders is from like 2006. It's a very different game. Although this game incorporates Sonic Riders into it, which is what the hoverboards are. They're from Sonic Riders. That's why I was like, but that doesn't involve the other two. Not what I was looking for. It's not what I was looking for. What do we have next? Parachute. Anybody want to try to guess it off the first word? The Bart Simpson game. Simpson. That Bart Simpson game. That's from the last one. My next not chomp guess was going to be Sunset Overdrive. Yeah, that could have maybe a little bit made sense. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Pilot Wings. Both valid, but are they correct? Just Cause 3, also valid. Lots of parachutes, but what if I included whatever the second word is that I don't remember? Seed. You ever seen a parachute seed before? My favorite video game, Parachute Seed Simulator. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's tough. Minecraft because of the map seed. That's another use of the word seed. That is true. There's a few different ways that word's used in video games. All right, no other new guesses. What if I give you a third hint? Animal Crossing. Remember, I'm never going to say if someone's right till all the way through. Elephant. All right. If you know this game, I feel like at this point, this one's easier than the rest of them. But if you don't know the game, then you're not gonna put these together. Or someone could just misinterpret what I'm saying here. It is Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Indeed. You get a parachute hat. Yeah. Has a little ability. Wonder Seed is the item. I didn't write Wonder, obviously. That would have been obvious. So it's the Wonder Seed is the item that changes the world around you, and then you can turn into an elephant. Mario Imagination game. Good guess. Kind of close. You did say Mario Kart. Yeah, it was Mario related. It's true. What's next? Lantern. Lots of lanterns. Lots of lanterns in games. But what kind of lantern am I referring to? Is it actually even a lantern? I don't know. Who knows? Peak, because it has a fairy lantern. That Souls game. Not a valid guess. Not a valid guess. Lantern. Lords of the Fallen. You didn't. You meant. Okay. Okay. I thought you meant something else by what you said. Baldur's Gate 3, because it has a lantern. Sure. Lantern, pretty common item across video games. So, I mean, this is not very helpful. There's hundreds of things this could be as of right now. What? Let me narrow it down. Clearly, this will narrow it down. Greed. Clearly, it's obvious now. Lantern and greed. Pokemon Legends. It's for a special quest to get through the Shadow Place. Yu-Gi-Oh! I remember doing that, Chomps. Yes. Yu-Gi-Oh! You are trying to get me to say Spire, says Ranwit. What? What do you mean I'm trying to? I'm trying to get people to say anything. That's the whole point of this. The whole point of this game is to try to get people to say things. We see through your game. You're going to withhold guesses? Every hint of every puzzle is Spire. That would be crazy if I went back and every single word in this whole thing of all 8 of the games was related to the same game, and then there was like a secret overall game. That would be... I mean, I guess that's possible. I could do that. I'm not currently doing that, though. I can promise you that. That's that would take a lot more effort than the 30 minutes that I put into making this. Anyways, next one. Century. Brandwood says, slay the Spire in all caps. But you just said, I'm trying to get you to guess slay the Spire. As if it couldn't be the answer. I love how you thought I was just tricking you. I tried to pick things that weren't extremely obvious in relation to Slay the Spire, and things that were more broad. Yes, Lantern, the Relic, Hand of Greed, the card, Sentry, the Elite, Enemy. Slay the Spire. Yeah, Ranwood was right. Ranwood was right. Special. GG. Special. Pokemon with special moves. That would have been a good one. I mean, it might be. Who's to say you're not right? Special, 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 special. I am? Oh yeah, I guess I gotta tell you if you're right or not. Well, not yet. I wouldn't tell you. Caps. Special and caps. Anybody want to guess? Anybody want to guess? Pokemon, because Ash wears a cap. Could still be Pokemon. It could. And nobody's gotten it. I thought somebody might get it off of those. Mario Sunshine. This next one will give it away if you know this game. That's. Who's going to guess it first? Who's going to guess it? Special, of course, standing for strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. The game that's not Skyrim. Yeah. Basically. Yep. Bottle caps. That's the aiming system. Indeed. Yeah, I didn't specify. It wasn't specifically anything. Any game. I was trying to do Fallout 3 specifically, but then I was like, I didn't want to go into research what if the older Fallouts had specific things, so I was like, just in general is good enough. Is there more? It just keeps going. Monster. Oh, fuck! I waited too long. Well, you got two at once. Monster and body bag, except it's blurred. You can't. It's basically you basically can't see it. Damn it. You weren't supposed to get all this information at once. The one with the umbrella company. Silent Hill. Resident Evil. Death Stranding 2. Should have given you two at once. This is not fair. I think I mean Resident Evil. Says Chomps. Well, let's get a third word in here. Princess Beach. I was hoping Sushi would be here at this moment. That's not vampires, yeah. I mean the one where they infect everyone. Resident Evil is like zombies, yeah. Yeah, Death Stranding, I think, says Ranwood. It is specifically Death Stranding 1, not 2. Because of third, I don't think there is Monster. So it's Monster Energy Drink because that's what you drink. But I think they took it out of the first game. But it was in the first game. They might still be, but it's not in the second game. Body bags are in both. And Princess Beach is a line in Death Stranding, where in the first game, where somebody refers to herself as Princess Beach. She's like, "You're my Mario and I'm your Princess Beach." It's real. It's a real thing. It's very funny. And ridiculous. I think I've talked about it. Like, Sushi just played through Death Stranding 1 and was talking about it. So. Yeah. All right. I think there's one more. Maybe more than one more. Sandwich. Good old sandwich. What could it be? What could it be? Lots of sandwiches around. How literal is this? Pokemon 2, they make those sandwiches, Scarlet and Violet. Sandwich. What else we got? Mansion. Overcooked. Plate up. I played Overcooked. Could it be? Is that also related to a mansion? Who knows? Sandwich Mansion. That sounds like a place that I want to go. Blueprints. The Onion King guy is in a mansion. I think Ranwood has it. Yo, Abe. We're guessing games based on these keywords that I'm giving as hints. Umbrella. Ranwood with the Resident Evil. Abe with Rihanna Dance Tour. Well. It is Resident Evil. Chomps, you just mentioned Umbrella. And yeah, it was in like one of the next things. Look at that. What a coincidence. Did we know why sandwich is related? Well, first of all, the mansion it takes place in the mansion, the first one. Umbrella, the corporation of evil bad guys. Sandwich is because there's a line in the first Resident Evil where something along the lines of, you almost get squished, and then he's like, you almost became a Jill sandwich. It's very silly. I think that might be the last one, but I do have screenshots. So it might be screenshot time. Or is there more of this? Screenshots, Luth. No, we still got screenshots to guess. What game is this? Pause. Anybody? Peek. Could be. Peek in the airport. Right. Right. Is that Mario Kart? As always, I will need a specific answer. If you want to be right, you gotta say the exact wording of the title of the game. Letter for letter. Be picky. Let's let it unblur a little bit. Why aren't we? I unblurred a little bit. Can you tell now? How about now? Anybody? Probably not. Maybe. I think it's almost able to be deciphered. King of Dorkside with the F0. All I can see is a penis. Mario Kart Double Dash. I love how you included the two. The exclamation points there, Abe. Bonus points, even though it's not the right answer. Bum bum bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum bum bum. This is not Mario Kart. This is not Wipeout. F0 again. F0 what? All right, Dorksire, you got the series. Half points to Dorksire. It is F-Zero GX from the GameCube. F-Zero Zoom game. Yeah. Yep. Next. God, this is so... Anybody? It's like more blurred on my screen than it says that it is on OBS. That's weird. Half a banana. Looks like Destiny 2. Oh my god, I just realized I forgot to change it to talk show category. Damn it. Oh no, we've been going for an hour and I didn't... Or 35 minutes, I guess. Okay, we got Destiny 2, look at them tall buildings. God of War Ragnarok, Destiny. I don't know, Roblox. Let's get a little more information. Are we seeing anything now? We've got some, we have some pixels. God damn it. Where those useless mods at? They should have caught that. Dragon Age, No Man's Sky. I do not see a man in the sky. You're right. A little more information. Now there's enough information that if you know the game, you should be able to I know what it is. But maybe not. Elden Ring. Elden Ring. Dragon Age Inquisition? It is. Chomps is the closest. It is Dark Souls 2. Someone with the Dark Souls after I said Dark Souls 2. Yeah. Dark Souls 2. It's somewhat near the beginning of the game. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's what it is. Next one. What is this? What is this? Isn't it obvious? Don't you understand what you're looking at? Folks. Having fun? Me too. Glad to hear. Jumps with the Minecraft immediately. Let me unblur it a little bit. I see squares. Hmm. A little bit more. This just feels upside down. Maybe it is. Who's to say it's not? I'm still saying Minecraft. Any other guesses? It's Minecraft. Come on. Damn. Chomp's got it without unblurring anything somehow. This is literally Zelda with blocks. This is like Lego Zelda. Any guesses? Man, this being blurred, it's not even that blurred. It's the same level of blurred, but like the shape is so clear. Anybody who's played this game, this should be somewhat obvious. If you have not played this game, this is not going to be obvious at all. Let me unblur it a bit. Oh, drawing a blank. Ba-bum, ba-bum, bum. Ba-dum, was gonna guess Pokemon. Almost looks like a Pokeball. Almost. Yeah, you're kind of right. I see what you mean. Yeah, it kind of looks like a one of those. Is it a luxury ball? Is that one's called? Black one with the gold. One of those games where the big lady everyone fancies was, and Markiplier played it. The big lady. What? Are you talking about that Resident Evil 8? Huh? Huh? Yeah. Dimitrescu. Resident Evil 8. Dun, 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 dun. It's the game. It's the game. What game is it? The French dancing ladies? French dancing ladies. I don't think there's French dancing ladies. Nobody knows. Unfortunate. It's a little bit more of an obscure one here. They had French costumes and things you fought. Yeah, no, that's Expedition 33. Persona, but not, aka Metaphor Refantasia, is what this is. The latest game from the Persona people. This is not Expedition 33, what you're talking about, Chomps. Metaphor with the traits leveled up. All right, we got another one. I think there's 2 or 3 more. Anybody? I think I accidentally. It's so weird. Why it's more blurred on my screen than it is on OBS. So I gotta like pause it faster. I feel like I gave you a significantly unblurred starting point here. Do you know what it is? Looks like a house made from a tree. Interesting. Let me unblur a little bit. Okay, does it still look like a house? Can anybody make out what it is yet? Monster Hunter? Yoshi? That is a scary looking Yoshi. Little yellow guy? Okay, maybe you're referring to something else. A little bit more. A little bit more. Ooh. That's a terrifying Yoshi there. Big ass Yoshi. Yoshi's pissed. Solemn with the God of War. It is indeed God of War 1. The first boss fight of the first God of War game. Where you're fighting the Hydra. Yes. Very fun. Very fun fight. Great game. Great series. Every game in that series. Great. Every single one of them. You heard it here. Yoshi's little and standing next to a big green dragon. Well, it's not Yoshi fighting the Hydra. That is God of War. That is Mr. Kratos himself. And I believe this is the last one. What are we looking at? Repo. Let me unblur a little bit. What could it be? What could it be? Oh, wouldn't you like to know? A big orange fish with its mouth open. I could see how you could see that. That's very funny to imagine. A little bit more. Huh? I feel like I'm a little bit in the way of this one. I gotta get out of the way. There's important information right here. A little bit more. Oh. More specific. More specific. More specific. Be more specific. Almost there. Specific Donkey Kong. It's my favorite Donkey Kong. Specific Donkey Kong. It is Donkey Kong Country 3. Donkey Kong and the Big Orange Fish Barrels. You know, I never considered that this barrel was a fish. And I gotta say, I still don't. What I've been playing, I want to talk about the stuff I've been playing, and then ask people what they've been playing and how they feel about it. We'll get to that after I talk about some stuff. So if you have anything to say, get it ready, because I will ask you afterwards. Anybody in chat, if you have anything to share about games you've been playing. So let's go like this. Doop. And let's go like this. Where is it? This. I have an extra version of myself on the screen. Actually, maybe I'll just cut myself off so I don't have to look at it. Looks more ridiculous. Their nuts bigger. Perfect. My shoulder. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about Mario. We just got through the whole game show element, Dan. We did word association and screenshot guessing. There was an F-Zero game in there. There was Donkey Kong Country 3. Anyways, it is now time to move on. So, thank you. Happy not Thanksgiving. I've recently, I'm not gonna, so, okay, actually, let me, no, I don't need to say that. So, I ranked the 3D Mario games on a tier list, then I'm replaying them, and then I am going to re-rank them. I haven't really talked about my thoughts after playing the first 3 of them now, and I want to do that. Without saying specifically whether or not I am or am not going to like move them or where they're going to move. I just kind of want to get my general thoughts and kind of differences out there. Because I don't want to spoil the end result of the tier list. And I haven't really, obviously, I don't know until I'm done with everything. But there are specific things that have changed in my mind for sure about these games. So I've now replayed, I'm not quite done with Galaxy, but essentially I've replayed Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. And I feel differently about all 3 of them than I did going into it, especially when playing them back to back, because anytime that I've ever revisited a 3D Mario game, it's only really ever been 64 or Sunshine. And it's been in like a bubble of only playing that for a little bit and then moving on doing something else, like not playing them back to back. So like my memory of them is always like just on its own, drifting in the distance. So they kind of just, by the time I play another one at a different point, I don't really remember what I thought. So that's why I'm doing them all back to back, because it makes it so much more obvious what all the intricacies are in between them and what makes them different. And I have to say, I feel it's been so weird because I feel like I feel a little bit more positive about Mario 64 than I did going in. I feel a little bit more negative about Mario Sunshine. And I feel a little bit more... The first half of Mario Galaxy, I was feeling more negative than what I thought going in, which was already considerably negative because I considered it my, like, one of the biggest disappointments to me. But then the second half of Mario Galaxy, now it's like significantly more positive than I thought going in. So I'm just kind of all over the place. And it's very interesting to see because I'm always very like, whenever I'm reviewing things or talking about things, uh, I'm always very weary of nostalgia and how much it affects your opinion of stuff, because people are very nostalgic and very attached to certain things, and I am always like questioning, you know, how much of that is just, again, the nostalgia, how much you remember the time in which you played the game and like your circumstances and stuff, and like how much of that is tied to how you feel about the game and whether or not you genuinely think the game is still good. Like I'm always thinking about that when talking to people about games. So me going back and playing these, I specifically had that in mind because like I always am getting into like not arguments but friendly debates that Mario Sunshine is not only my favorite but the best 3D Mario game. Um, and now, but the thing is, now I'm more like critical and stuff when I'm playing games. I try to be observant of all the different things that I do and don't like, and like what does and doesn't work and stuff. And I feel like because of that, now I'm realizing how much of my attachment to Sunshine might be nostalgia, the thing that I'm constantly criticizing. Um, and we might have a different situation. Might have a different situation with this tier list once I get to the end of it. Because there was a lot of things in Mario Sunshine, I guess, that the key point, I guess, is that when I try to describe how I was feeling when I was playing Sunshine, was that I constantly was actively pointing out, like, oh, like I was doing it without really realizing it, but then I kind of realized that I was saying it a lot, which was like, oh, it's this one. Like, oh, now I have to go do this thing. Oh, I remember this. This part's not very good. And I just realized that I was saying that a lot. Which is, it's also weird because I replayed Sunshine probably a couple years ago and was still under the impression that like this wasn't like that it was still my favorite. And I played it pretty recently. The difference now is that I'm playing all of them back to back, and like you're saying, Dan, the pacing in are you saying the pacing in Sunshine or 64 feels very slow? You're saying it controls the best, as in Sunshine does, but the pacing feels slow in Sunshine. Maybe I think that what that comes down to is that there are so many things that are like puzzles, and the parts that are highlights of Sunshine are the parts where you're just like platforming or running around and using FLUDD in fun ways for platforming, but then it asks you to like shoot at a wall to flip things, or like awkwardly there there's so I'd have to like go back through. I'm going to go back through the footage because I'm going to make a video on this where I have like more like actually making good points. uh but there was just very often where I was like, oh, the swimming, like, oh my god, the underwater stuff in Sunshine is really bad. Like, I don't know why it's so bad. And then like trying to navigate some of the areas is just awkward. It just comes down to there's a lot of gimmicks that they throw into, like it's not just about platforming, and they keep hitting you with gimmick after gimmick. Some of them are fun, but then some of them are just annoying. And I feel like what I've noticed is that with Mario 64 and with Mario Galaxy, there's not really gimmicks, because you're much more limited in what you are capable of, because obviously you don't have flood, so you're just kind of jumping around. That's the whole point. It doesn't get much crazier than that. Although, of course, obviously there's power-ups in both games, much more so in Galaxy. And I think that Galaxy gets a little bit out of control with some of the things that it does. But yeah, overall, I have very much so surprised myself, because I distinctly remember not liking Galaxy when I played it when it came out. Um, not like, that's the wrong way of putting it. Distinctly remember being like, this is not as fun as Sunshine, and it's too easy I and simple. And now that I'm replaying it, I'm like, that's I mean, I don't think that I was right, actually. So this has been a weird experience. And I'm excited to get to the Galaxy 2, because I've only played like half of it, and a lot of people speak very, very highly of it. For different reasons than they speak highly of Galaxy 1. Of course, my headset dies. I keep charging it, and then it just dies. I don't know why it's doing this recently. It's never done that before. Until like a couple weeks ago. I'm not even using it right now anyways. But yeah. How would you describe that potential nostalgia? Like, what was it that made you feel like that before compared to how you feel now? I think that, well, it's just like a time and place thing of, I think that for a lot of people, they have an association with certain games when they were in a certain point in their life, and it's a very similar like, it's the same thing with music, it's the same thing with most media. Like, people that played or watched or listened to things between the ages of like 10 to 16, whatever you did in that time period is most likely to be what you consider your favorite or the best of whatever the thing is. Like, that's just like the default. And that's not always true, but I think that, like, because it specifically is not true for me in a lot of ways. But in this case, that is what it is. Like, that's why I have always really liked the GameCube specifically, because that's kind of what I played the most during that time period. And when I was like starting to actually form opinions about games and stuff. Because when I went back to play all the Mario Kart games, I went back in with the assumption that Double Dash was going to be my favorite, and then I ended up knocking it down a couple pegs. So I've realized, but this is part of why I have these conversations with people, because I am always curious for people to check their nostalgia, because I think that nostalgia is very influential and could be really making you think things that aren't true because of what you remember, or like the time and place that you were in at that point, and like the simpler times surrounding you, and like, that's all great. That like, me liking Sunshine less now does not mean that I didn't love it for that time period. Obviously, it doesn't take away my experience from the game when I played it. I still am very fond of it from when I played it. And I think that there's nothing wrong with obviously saying that, and everyone feels that way about certain things. But now going back, and I'm trying to replay these to have a more objective thought about them. Like, that's part of the point, is like questioning my own thoughts, being like, okay, but I think these things, but do I still think these things if I do this now, when I am more knowledgeable on the subject and like can think things through more? And I'm not only tying it to like those emotional things as well. And now it's like, yeah, Sunshine is not as good as I have always claimed it to be. Mario Galaxy is definitely better than I have continuously claimed it to be. 64 is maybe a little bit better, but really not much because I have played it somewhat consistently over the years. So I wasn't too wrong, like off about it. It's still old. It's still rough in some ways, but it also in some ways it is like more solid than you would assume. Let me go back up a little bit. Hello, Bringer. What was the second thing Trump said? What was that nostalgia though? I think it's interesting how audience context influences response. Audience context? I was in my rebellion era. I mean, there might be some truth to that because I feel like I've tried to like, I mean, I feel like I've gotten away from it, but I definitely in the past have had contrarian mindset where like I didn't want to like the thing that most people liked. That not in all cases, but um, I definitely have fallen into that at some points in the past. So maybe that like has something to do with some of these opinions that I still hold, which again is why it's interesting to me to go back and be like, is this really true? Or am I just was I just being weird? Um, GTA. It would be. I kind of want to go back and play a couple GTA games for this exact reason. Hello, okay, Hippo. How's it going? How's it going? Sorry, I'm in the middle of like multiple different thought processes right now. How long have I been doing Ludo Lingo? I started at 6:30. It's been about an hour. Basically, we started off Ludo Lingo today with um, game show stuff, trivia. I did a bunch of word association, and then I did a bunch of screenshot guessing for about an hour. Not an hour, for about 45 minutes. And now I'm moving on to talking about stuff I've been playing, and so far my thoughts on replaying the 3D Mario series and how I feel after playing Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy. I'm like 90% through what I'm going to play of Mario Galaxy. um, and basically, my conclusion so far, I'm not talking about exact ways that I'm going to move things up and down the tier list, but Mario 64 might move a little bit up, maybe. Mario Galaxy is definitely going up. Mario Sunshine is definitely going down. To what degree, I don't know. It's going to depend on how I feel after everything. But I don't think it'll be number one, is how I'm feeling right now. It's weird though, because nostalgia should heavily influence me to love Mario 64 more too. And that's the other thing where like to me it's just obvious that it's not great compared to the rest of them, especially after replaying them. Like it was immediately apparent that Mario controls better in Sunshine and Galaxy. There's very small intricacies in all three of them that are better than the other two. Like there's certain things that Mario 64 is still the best at. There's certain things Sunshine is still the best at. There's certain things Galaxy is still the best at. There's no clear like across the board best out of these three. I don't think. Now, by the time I get to Galaxy 2 and Odyssey, that maybe could change. We'll see. I don't know. Asking this because it's my podcast, so I want my experience examples, not how people in general are influenced. Well, I just think that applies to how I have been influenced. Like when I was in my like teenage years is when I attached myself to certain things, and like that's when I was playing a lot of GameCube games. And then it I just played them a lot, and probably also because that was in a time period where I was replaying things too. So like I don't do that very much anymore. So it kind of like ingrained things into me probably by playing them more than once back to back or like over the course of a few years, like revisiting things. I don't really revisit things much anymore unless I like really, really, really want to with very few things. So that probably reinforced some of these opinions, I would say. Outside of that, like I don't really know because I don't know how nostalgia directly affects me because I feel like I'm just for some reason really aware of it, and I don't know if everyone always is, but I don't know how to explain like what nostalgia is, like in context for playing games. Like I just feel like it it attaches certain games to your like emotions of your environment in a certain time period, which is also which like doesn't necessarily mean that your surroundings are positive and then that's why you're associating it with a positive experience. If anything, it might be the opposite, where like I wasn't always feeling the best, so I would like play video games to feel better, perhaps. And like especially in that age range, that just makes you like more attached to them in that instance. I feel like that's probably part of it. Because like obviously they're in an escape in some ways. But I mean that could apply to really like any time period, so I don't really know if that necessarily makes sense. I think it might have like more to do with that plus age and the influence that happens at like certain ages. So that's why I just like I always say that there's if you're gonna have like lists of best games or like what your favorites are and stuff, I just feel like at least for me, all of these things are vastly would be vastly different lists. Like favorite games versus what games I think are the best versus what games were best for the time that they came out versus what games do I think are still good regardless of when they came out. Like all four of these would be different lists. So it totally depends on what you're asking me. But then like when people just are casually talking about best or favorite games, like all of this is all jumbled together and not considered, I feel like. So it's then I'm like overanalyzing conversations being like, you're saying that, but do you mean in this way, in this way, in this way, or in this way? Because I feel like these are not all the same answer. And if they are the same answer, then I'm like, then I'm just confused. But anyways, I don't know what I'm even talking about. The point is, um, I guess I went into the 3D Mario games also when I made the tier list, which I will. Shit, it's not gonna be the right size, is it? If I do this, no, not that. Where the heck is it? I don't remember what it's called. There it is. It's not gonna be the right. Oh, it is. Kind of. Yeah. When I went into making this tier list, I was like, obviously, I did not put anything in S tier, and said I don't think that there's any of the 3D Mario games are S tier video games overall, and put Sunshine in first. Um, I'm just at this point, I'm wondering if I'm going to change on that. I'm not sure. Don't know. But I do know that it's very interesting to play them all back to back. Because, like I said, I've revisited Mario 64 and Sunshine multiple times, even especially Sunshine. I've played Sunshine probably like 3 or 4 times in the last decade and still continuously maintained that it was my favorite one. But that's like, I wasn't playing the other games back to back to directly compare them as I was doing it. And that only that has made me change my mind. Maybe. I think we'll definitely see after Galaxy 2 and Odyssey, because I think that they have quite a significant chance, especially Galaxy 2, because I've not played all of it. I think that's pretty significant. Especially, and again, especially because I haven't played all of it, because when playing through Mario Galaxy, like I said, when I was like halfway through the game, I was like, this, I was right. I was like happy because I was like, I was right. This is not very good. Like, this is boring. The controls are like awkward. I'm just running in circles around planets. It's not very interesting. But then, like, as you play through the game, it gets more and more complicated, but not in an annoying way. And then they actually have like creative ideas. So take that to Galaxy 2, and if I haven't experienced the second half or the last third, I don't know how much I played. Obviously, that's the best part of the game. That's the best part of every Mario game, really, is the second half, because they aren't afraid to challenge you a little bit and also just like keep throwing weird ideas at you. The beginning of most of these games is like a warm-up, which makes sense. That's how they should be. Let me back up a little bit. Nostalgia is a valid determination on how you rank your personal games. Yeah. Yeah. It'd be kind of hard to argue with that statement, because, like, obviously that's part of the point. Like, whatever your experience is going to determine what your favorite games are. Just, I guess, to me, I try to go, because I just like lists so much, I guess. I don't know. I like trying to protect the sanctity of lists, where I'm like, if I'm going to make a list, I need to be very specific. Like, am I saying this is my list of favorite things with all of the criteria included based on time of playing it, how long I played it, when what I played around it, what I was doing in life at that time, like all of these things are relevant. Then that's like, yeah, that is involving nostalgia. But then outside of that, if I then go back to them at some point and I'm trying to be more objective about making a list about what I genuinely think is or isn't better, then it's just a completely different question. So to me, like, you have to clarify that. What are you trying to do? What are you saying? Yeah. But also, why do I care this much? I don't know. Fun. I like it. Is it unnecessary? Yes. Am I going to give Shadow of Colossus and Outer Wilds another try? I don't think, no, because those I've given another try within the context of me thinking like this. And like recently, where I have had this mindset going into them. Me going back to these games with this mindset, I've not played most of them in 1 to 2 decades. So I was not like thinking like this. I was just playing them. But now I'm like playing them with an analytical mindset at the same time, with an intention, which is how I played Shadow of the Colossus and Outer Wilds. So I don't think that could change. I do not want to do Luigi's Mansion. I tried playing Luigi's Mansion when it came out and did not like it. I tried playing Luigi's Mansion 3 even, didn't like it. Don't like it, which sucks because I love Luigi. I remember being super disappointed in that. I did a Mario 64 randomizer. My moves are randomized. Man, you can get a lot of stars with just basic jump. Sure you can. Can you not wall jump? Started writing a stupid long response, but deleted it because blah blah. Short replies, fair point, make interesting thought, context of reception. Just basic one jump. I've arrived. Please resume and summarize absolutely everything you've said since the start of stream, including viewer responses. Thanks, I'll wait here. Cav, I cannot do that. I cannot do that. I think I'm gonna wrap it up on talking about Mario. That's enough. I'm gonna make a big video talking about all of this when I'm done. Anyways, I just wanted to like give an update after the first three because I might come back and listen to myself talk about this like when I'm making the video because I'm trying to form opinions along the way so that I don't forget what I thought. Because when you play like 8 games in a row in the same series, it's very easy to compare them, but then it's also very easy to lose track of what I think about each one as I'm doing it. Because they're going to blur together in some way. Be careful about that. So that'll be it for that. The only other thing I've been playing is Hades 2. By the way, also, now I'm going to talk about Hades 2 a little bit. No spoilers or anything. If anybody wants to write... Actually, let me pull this up. We're doing the middle one. And then I haven't even gotten to the topic of the week yet. Holy shit. This might be a long episode. We'll see. If anybody wants to write in chat about games that they have been currently playing and what you think about them, feel free. Drew, I don't know if you wanted to talk about Death Stranding or Final Fantasy or anything. If you're here. Yeah, we can do that. I just want to talk about Hades real quick. I'm not going to spoil anything. If anybody else wants to write in chat about anything they've been playing and how they feel about it, feel free, and I'll get to it. So, yeah, in like a few minutes, I just want to talk about Hades, and then we can do that. I feel like, should I show it? I don't know. I'll find the very beginning of it. As to not spoil anything. Copy. Paste. All right, this will be the very beginning of the game. No spoilers happening. How did I do that again? It was this one. Okay. So just to talk about Hades a little bit. Oh, right, it's not the right size. Probably heard me talk about it. Anyways, but I want to just say that this game's amazing. And it's kind of going to lead this game. There's multiple different games that have like made me want to do the topic that we're doing this week for topic of the week, which is sequels, because obviously this game is a sequel to Hades, and also Death Stranding 2 played recently, sequel, Silksong sequel, and any games that are like follow-ups. Anyways, so I just kind of love everything about this game. I honestly, genuinely don't know if I could make a negative statement about Hades 2. And You know, that doesn't happen almost ever. I think that they clearly have put an insane amount of time and effort into this. And obviously, that had a lot to do with the early access. Even though I don't like early access, I did not participate in it. And I don't like how it has clearly, unfortunately, negatively impacted like the impact of the game's release, because I feel like this should be a bigger deal right now. Obviously, there's a lot of games, and that's going to dampen it regardless. It's Aphrodite you're talking about. Sushi. Aphrodite might pop up on the screen at some point here and jump scare you. But yeah, because people have played it for the last year and a half, like it just didn't make like this huge like, oh my god, Hades 2 is out to everyone. Like everyone's at a different point in playing the game, and it's not as exciting for a lot of people, which is disappointing because I wish more people were talking about it and like playing it. But we'll see how things go with the end of the year, because I think this is a I've already had like a just impossible time determining, because obviously I do game of the year stuff at the end of every year, or the beginning of the next year, I guess. I'll probably do it in like February. Doesn't make any sense to do it before that. But yeah, this game's all over the top of that for sure. But as are many other games, so it's a crazy year. But I love the way the game feels. It basically has anything positive I could say about Hades 1 is here, but then also they've expanded on a lot of those aspects, and not in some annoying way where it's like, oh my god, they're just making everything bigger and more tedious. I don't think that they did that at all. I think that they just, honestly, it's more compact feeling, which is crazy. Like when you actually play through it, you do runs more quickly, or at least it feels like you do. Everything, it feels faster. It feels like it's paced faster. And that's awesome, because even in Hades 1, I never really had an access or an issue with that. But then now that it's a little bit faster, it's like, oh yeah, this is great. I'm glad you did this. But yeah, there's more to do, but it does not feel overwhelming at all. I constantly want to keep doing higher difficulty stuff. And again, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm trying to be vague because I don't want to like say anything specific. But the weapons, I like playing with all of them, which was mostly the case in the first game as well. Really, the first game was pretty much perfect in the first place. And now this game just feels more perfect. So I'd like and it's really weird because I don't like this perspective in games usually. When I see a game and it's isometric and it's top down and your character is small, that's usually like a red flag or a put off for me. But just the way that Hades handles it, it's so engaging. You don't feel detached. The reason I usually don't like that is because you're so far away, it doesn't feel like you're really controlling the character. You don't feel like you're actually like accomplishing the things that you're doing. If things are just kind of happening around you, or it feels a little automated, it does not feel even remotely like that to me. So yeah, I love all the additions. I don't have an issue with anything. When I go to make my review for this, I mean, I'll try to find something wrong with it, but I don't know if there is, really. This is like exactly what I want out of a video game. The music is amazing. It feels amazing to play. It looks fantastic. I love the art. The voice acting is really good. At some point, I get it's not even negative, it's like neutral. The only neutral thing I can say is like at some point, I get a little bit like, yeah, whatever, at some of what is being said with like the dialogue, because it gets a little bit, as you're talking to the same people over and over again, it gets a little bit repetitive. They're not necessarily saying the exact same things, but it's like, yeah, I know, I get it. Like this isn't that interesting anymore. But that's just because I've played the game for like 50 hours at this point. So at some point, like they can't just constantly have new and interesting things to say. So that's just the fault of the person playing for so long. I can't really pin the blame on the game for that. You can't. I wouldn't want them to try to drag out a narrative to like an insane degree time wise. So can't really say that's a negative. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. I desperately want more people to play Hades and Hades 2. Even if looking at the game you think it might not be a game for you, to me Hades and Hades 2 are like absolutely top of the list in terms of games that I think could be enjoyed by just about anyone, except maybe people that consider any type of difficulty in a game like too much, or that they don't want it. Because then you maybe will get frustrated because you are meant to die over and over again. But I mean, to me, it's not even remotely frustrating dying. It's always fun and interesting, and like you're constantly learning, and it's not that hard, really, at all. You can make it more difficult, but you don't have to. So that would be the only thing, though. If like you're super casual about games, then maybe don't. But even so, like I think that you're constantly improving in this game, and I think anybody can enjoy it for sure. And I don't say that about everything. I'm not gonna try to tell you that everyone's gonna love Death Stranding or everyone's gonna love Dark Souls or everyone's gonna love um, Expedition 33 or Rift of the Necrodancer. Like, no, definitely not. But this, something like this and something like Donkey Kong Bonanza, it's like, yeah, everyone definitely could love this game. All right. That's it. Let me get back to a couple things here, and then Drew, I will call you. Cav says, I'm currently playing Hogwarts Legacy. I know it's a bit niche. Niche or niche? Niche. Every time I say it differently, and then I question why I didn't say it the other way. And it's got even, it's not even new, but for someone who isn't the biggest Harry Potter fan, this game's amazing. It's perfect for fall, beautiful, open world. You can make it linear or not if you want. Tons of collectibles if that's your thing. Just waiting for it to go on sale, and I finally bought it. Big time recommend if anyone is debating it. Fair enough. You said you're not big. Why? I'm just. If you're not a big Harry Potter fan, what made you want to get into it in the first place? Because I feel like that's that game's like purpose is for people that are Harry Potter fans. Because like I played it a little bit and really was was not for me. But if I was a big Harry Potter fan, I feel like I would have liked it. But I'm also tired of open world games, so I mean it has something to do with it. The early access conundrum makes games better, but also makes hype die down more for full release than it would have been. Exactly. I just don't like that everyone's not on the same page, and that people like I'm playing a game that feels like that is new, but technically it's not, and then people around me are just like, yeah, I already did that. It's like, well, that's no fun. I like when part of my favorite thing about video games is like knowing that a bunch of people are all experiencing the same thing at the same time. Like it's the communal aspect. Like that heavily affects my enjoyment of From Software games like Dark Souls, Elden Ring. Knowing that everyone is playing and struggling at the same time, even if I'm not directly playing with them, and everyone's like communicating, being like, "Have you like, did you do this yet? Have you found this? Did you understand how to do this?" And everyone's all just equally confused and like learning. Like that's one of the best things about video games. So like early access just kills that totally. That sucks. Like that's something that I liked about the fact that Silksong came out quickly after its re-announcement. Like everyone just got into it. Nobody had time to like build up to it. There was no preview cycle where there was all this information coming out about it. Just like, here it is. Everyone figure it out at once. I think that was great. Hades was an A tier roguelike for me. Hopefully this is S tier. Big disagree for me. I love Hades. So I don't know. Like, I don't know if you don't think Hades was like, if you're gonna think this is like, even though I think this is better, but how much better to somebody who doesn't love Hades? I don't know, because it is technically like more of the same. I just think it's like a little bit better in every way. Resident Evil 1 on the PS1, says Dan. Love the scenery and the sound effects. The game does a good job of making you feel like you're there via audio and great music. I don't mind the tank controls. Voice acting is horrid and makes it comedic. It's my really only my complaint so far. Yeah, bad voice acting can definitely be fun. Um, I love the Resident Evil games, but only the remakes. So I would love to play Resident Evil 1, but I tried to even play the remake of 1, the GameCube one, and I couldn't do that either. No, you're saying you don't mind the tank controls. I've never been able to get past that barrier. Although I guess like I did play Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, which are like kind of in that direction. I don't think they're as bad though. It's not the same thing. Like Harry Potter, but I'm not like, oh my god, I need to watch this every month. All right. Uh, I'm reading. I'm just not responding to everything. Yeah, Silk Song's release was great. Nobody had an upper hand on the conversation. I just like talking about games, so if everyone's on the same page at the same time, it's nice. All right. Let me get in a sorry, that took a little bit longer than I thought. I get carried away. Oh, wait, one sec. One sec. Drew, do you want a ring ring? Ring ring. Ring ring. Uh Forgot how to ring ring. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
I am welcomed. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Can everyone hear me?
Can everyone hear him? Is he at the same volume roughly as me?
Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm still catching my breath. I rode my Peloton a little too hard today and I'm feeling nauseous.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
You
I'm still.
should not be resting before you start streaming?
Nah, I'm good.
Can anyone hear him? I need one person to say they can hear him properly.
I mean, if it's showing on OBS, most likely they can.
Hood. Hood. That sounds. Yep. I like Hood. All right.
Go off.
All right.
Ooh.
Yeah. So what? I know. Well, you've been playing like a lot of different things, so you don't have to. You can bring them up a little bit. Okay. You don't have to. You can focus on one or two things, or you can just like give a general thought about whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever
we
you
just
feel like.
finished Silent Hill F. Really enjoyed it. I didn't play a lot of Silent Hill games, so I don't, a lot of fans of Silent Hill are like, it's not a Silent Hill game, but you know what? Shut the fuck up, dude. It's a good game with a good story. Like, who cares? I think it brings, to me, it felt like Silent Hill. It's got the fog, right?
That's all you need.
It got psychological horror in it. People lost in their own, like, you know, past and trouble and abuse. Like, what else is Silent Hill, right? Isn't that Silent Hill? And you're weak. You have a pipe to attack.
I would. I
Like,
mean,
you're helpless.
I can't. If you're
Anyways,
asking me directly, I've only played. Yeah, I unplugged something, chumps. If you're asking me directly, all I've played is Silent Hill 2 remake. So
me too. Me too. That's the only other
okay,
one I played.
okay.
So I like this one, but the fact that there's 5 endings means and you cannot achieve any of those endings on your first playthrough. So you have to play it again to get the second, and then the third time to collect everything to get the third, and then there's other secret ones. So the fact that it, requires multiple playthroughs is a little, but it's not too long, and I don't know what chat feels how chat feels if they want to see me go through the game again on New Game Plus, but we'll see.
Hmm.
But yeah, the first playthrough was fun, but the fact that I can't see the true ending until I beat it a few more times is kind of
Yeah,
sucky.
I don't like
But
that. That's
yeah,
definitely a little bit of a put off, especially if you get really invested by that point, and then it's like then it's just teasing you, and it's like, well, do it again. It's like, well, wait, okay.
yeah,
What if I don't
I've
want
seen
to?
this cutscene already. Yeah. And Zelda, obviously, always super fun. People are asking how sane I am getting the Korok seeds, but you guys don't understand, man. Like last night was the most like relaxing time. Collecting all the Korok seeds is a lot of fun, in my opinion. It's very cathartic. All right, so that's Zelda out of the way. It's okay, because you don't have to hear me. The next
I
is
can hear you.
Final. Oh, you can hear me. So you got
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Tactics. We're gonna play that tonight. Loving the game. It doesn't take AAA a bunch of. Oh my god.
No, you weren't supposed to
Oh
see it.
jeez.
I was going.
Oh
I went to my
fuck.
other.
Oh no.
I went to my
Oh
other
no,
computer to
that's
get it.
not a real photo, okay, everyone? That's a Photoshop, okay? Gosh, dang it. Um, yeah, I think so far the two games I enjoyed the most this year is FF Tactics and Death Stranding 2.
Wow, and then you're like playing them both right now at the same time.
Yeah, I'm playing Death Stranding 2 off stream,
Yeah,
and yeah, that is a game. That is a game, dude. It's bizarre, it's great, it's emotional, it's spectacular, it's just it's Kojima. That's all I can say. And I think it's better than the first one in every single way, gameplay wise, but the story is a little not as interesting.
yeah, yeah. They kind of lost me with the plot a little bit. Like you were saying, the individual characters are still interesting, and like there's a lot of cool new characters for sure. Like they really focus on there being like a cast that is all like
Yeah,
interacting with each other, which is cool.
posse, a
Um,
entourage.
yeah,
Yeah.
I always like that in games when there's like a crew of people that are all like hanging out and talking, and or they're like trying to accomplish things together, and you're not just like one person doing everything. It's
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
If you haven't played Guardians of the Galaxy, that's a good one of those.
Mm, I've not.
Oh, oh, you've never played Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, I don't really. I mean, I don't like superhero stuff, so I
Me
avoided
either.
it.
Me either.
Mm.
I don't know why I played it. I played it because
I mean, people said it was
it
good.
didn't
I
sell.
was curious, but
Yeah, I was very surprised on how much I enjoyed that game.
mm, yeah,
The gameplay is not so much, but it's the character dynamic which really um had to come. And anyways, back to Death Stranding. So the last thing I did last night before I went to bed is I met the pizza guy. Holy shit. Okay, D-Guns, are you listening or are you playing around?
yeah. I was listening. I was doing it while you were talking. I was supposed to be like a
Oh, gotcha.
animation.
Okay,
You're
I see.
talking head.
I see what you're doing. All right.
Again, you weren't supposed to notice. Yes, the pizza
There
guy.
is a slight delay, but good game, dude. Everybody, go grab Death Stranding 2 if you have a PlayStation 5. It's why you have a PlayStation 5 to play a game like Death Stranding
Yeah, it
2.
kind of is. It's just weird how it like motivates you to do all of these things that would seem tedious in other games.
Exactly, but there's something about it that I
It's just because
it's Kojima magic.
yeah, it's because everything takes a little bit more effort, and it's not in an annoying way. It's just like you actually have to
Yeah.
interact with the world around you to like walk properly or drive properly or make things. It's all about like efficiency. It's like preying on your brain, being like, "Don't you want to be more efficient with this? Wouldn't that be great?"
Yeah.
And it's like, "Yeah, I do. I do."
Yep. Yeah, you get slight updates to make your life easier. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think those are the ones that I've been like really focused on. Ghost of Yotei I'm putting on hold just because I really don't feel like playing that right now.
Hmm.
With other games because I need to get the Silk Song, I need to get the Chapter 3.
Oh yeah.
And then we have Absalom and Ball Pit
Yeah.
this week that we're
Oh
playing.
yes. We are both going. I'm gonna stream at a normal time tomorrow with Mario Galaxy, but then come 9 o'clock when Sushi Drew usually starts, I will switch over and we're going to play Absalom together. It's a two-player co-op.
Yes.
It's only two-player. You can't play with more people,
Correct.
which is
Yeah,
interesting.
it's a rogue 'em up. That's what they call it.
Yeah.
It's a roguelike beat 'em up. It's by the same devs who did the Streets of Rage 4 game, which is fantastic.
Mm.
Dotemu.
Yeah.
And
I kind of want to try that. I don't play beat 'em ups like ever. I only really played Dragon's Crown,
yeah.
and I liked it, but
yeah, they're fun. But it's not something you want to play all the time. And
yeah.
that's why they made this game, because it's replayable. With the
Yeah,
roguelike
that's
elements.
it definitely draws me in. Like that immediately made me way more interested. And the way it looks and like the music's awesome too. Like it just everything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gareth Coker is in it. Yeah, it's crazy. And what's his name again? But in my video, the Doom composer and the Souls-like composer and the Elden Ring composer are in it. So
Mhm. I was gonna ask you. I was gonna ask you one thing.
You're so small. What you do to me?
Sorry. Do you think that I should play Final Fantasy Tactics? I do like strategy games. I don't like I've enjoyed XCOM, I've enjoyed Fire Emblem.
It's not like those though. It's a
No, I
little
know
different.
it's much like I feel like I've played things that are more in line with it. I just can't think of what they would be because like obviously it's tile based.
It is tile based. It's job based. So if you like the Final Fantasy jobs,
Right.
which makes it
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah, I do like that aspect too.
The story is very good. And very relevant today, which is crazy. It was made in 1997, so there are some some things that a lot of newcomers didn't like about this one. Like my brother, he's playing it for the first time, and he was talking about, I hate that you don't get XP or JP if you don't do anything. So you could just hit your own friends to gain XP or like JP, which you want, right? Or you could just spam. Like a squire can learn one move called focus. You could just focus yourself at every turn to just level up and stuff. But
So
it's
like if you're not if you're not hitting something on a turn, like you don't get experience.
you don't get experience if you don't do anything, like if you don't heal anyone that needs healing,
Okay.
any of that. So why is this the photo?
I don't know.
I
It just
don't know,
appeared.
dude.
It was weird.
I
It just
don't know.
appeared all out of nowhere.
But I think if you want to, it's one of those where like if you want to revisit a game that you never did and want to know why why is it so beloved and people
Yeah.
loved it so much, I think it's worth looking into because it truly is
I
like
might. How long is it though?
one of a
That's
kind.
the one thing.
It's as long as
30
the
hours or
main
so?
story. The main story is 4 chapters. It's not too long. You could beat it in a few days, but there's an endless there's a dungeon,
Yeah,
huge dungeon at
I'm
the
not
end.
gonna mainline it, that's for sure. That would not be fun.
Like you could spend hundreds of hours in the game if you want to like try out all the different jobs and the weapons and skills and get really strong, and there's so much hours in the game. But if you just want to beat the game story, then yeah, it's like I don't know, 30 to 40 hours maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe less.
I might. I'm curious for sure.
Hey Sibley.
Hello, Simply. We got Drew on the mic
yeah.
for a little bit.
But yeah, lots of games. I'm still trying to get through all the games before the end of October because I have Katamari coming out. I know you're not the biggest fan of the series, but I am. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we also have Mina the Hollower, which got delayed.
Delayed, yeah.
So yeah, it's coming out in November instead. We also have Dragon Quest. We also have. Oh, it's his foot. Oh no! What are you doing? No. Yeah, we got Dragon Quest also. So Keeper is also coming out. But I might just wait for that if it ever comes out on the PS5 because I don't have a gaming PC. I decided not to stream like heavy graphical games. On my streaming PC.
Yes, that makes sense. Bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah, just trying to catch up on the games. That's all. Finishing Chrono Trigger on Wednesday, I think. So
Nice. Nice.
my gaming machine.
Heck yeah. From one to the next. That's how it goes.
And yeah, and I can't wait to do the 3D Mario marathon, Mariothon, like you're doing. But
Yeah.
I won't be doing mine until next year.
Yeah, that'll be cool to see. Be cool to see because then I'll have like more recent thoughts on it
360
too.
pass.
Yeah. No. It's just it's always nice to get something back into your mind in a more recent way, and you're not just kind of like filling in blanks of the past, being like, I think this was like this, maybe, I don't know, and then they kind of all blur together at some point when you've played a bunch of the same thing. It's confusing.
Yeah, I've never played Sunshine, so
Mm.
I look forward to playing that and not enjoying it.
Yeah, well, that might happen. That might happen. I wouldn't be surprised. I guess that's it. If anybody else wants to, before I move on to the topic of the week, if anybody else wants to contribute to this conversation generally, what I'm just talking about games that I've been playing. Drew just talked about a bunch of games he's been playing. A couple people in the chat have chimed in, but if anybody has anything to say, feel free to write your thoughts on a game you're currently playing or just played, whatever. If you don't have anything else to say, Drew, then you can feel free to run away and I'll remove the image.
Yes, please do.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and another game on my list that I also need to get to is Trails of the Sky remake.
Mhm.
I want to see what that series is all about, and since the first one just came out as a remake,
Be careful.
I heard really good things about this.
Yeah.
So
Careful though. If you like it, then you're gonna be in deep for hundreds and hundreds of hours of this stuff.
yeah, I know, but that's why I need to finish this before, and then give it a while until like the next game comes out.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's it for me. Thanks for having me.
Alrighty.
I do need to get food and get ready for the stream.
Yep.
So,
All good.
talk to you later.
Have
Bye,
a good
chat.
one. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Wait, hold on. I was gonna delete it, but I'm gonna go like this. It's my professional animation. What do you mean? I didn't do anything. All right. So, hello, Mr. Clean. You were seeing a masterpiece of imagery. Only a wizard could come up with such a thing. Okay, so we have successfully, oh god, we have successfully done the keyword and screenshot trivia for about 45 minutes. Then, for like an hour, talked about games I've been playing, talked about games that you fine folk have been playing, and what Sushi's been playing. He's not included in the fine folk. That's separate. And then now we're going to do topic of the week. Anybody can contribute in chat, even if you did not contribute in the Discord. That's totally fine. I will read off what I wrote for more context if you want more information before you write your answers, if you have something you want to contribute here. Let me just do this. You always miss the trivia? Yeah, I kind of haven't been, like, I always just do things in random order because I haven't done the trivia for 2 weeks. I only did it in the first week and this one. So it's kind of all over the place. All right. Expectations from sequels. Let me read off more specifically what I'm asking here. Okay? Okay. This is what I wrote in the Discord. Oh, right. I forgot I screen captured the Discord last time. Maybe I should do that. I can do that. I can do that. Give me a second. Oh no. Possible ban evader. You're an artist who creates custom emotes, overlays, logos, and animations specifically for streamers. You'd love to help get me some unique art that fits my style and makes my channel pop. Do I have any ideas for art for my stream? You can share some examples. No, I'm not a bot. That's what a bot would say. Indeed. Clearly you're not a... Well, clearly you're not a bot. You know what's fun? Not banning people. All right. Let me see. You're just here to help. You're specifically just here to help me. That's so kind of you. That's so kind of you. I'm desperately in need of art. This AI stuff's getting good. Oh, shit. Hold on. I don't have... wait.
Oh, you yet again. You're a persistent one.
I don't have it on.
You silly little
Thank you, Eddie. For a second there, I thought someone gifted Emma.
76 with the 87-month
I literally thought that's what just happened.
Wahahahoo.
Thank you, Eddie. 87 months! Dude, I need new sub badges so badly. If only there was an artist here named Emma Clark that could help me with my need for sub badges. Give me a moment. All right. Now you just... That was a boring ban. I didn't want to ban them because it's funny, but... Yeah, like, I got art. I made that. Kind of. Scion helped made the orange thing. But I did the rest of it. Scion also made that. Alright. Topic of the week. No, that's very small. I made it too small. Oh my god. This is taking too long. Something like that. Good enough? Good enough. Good enough. You miss Emma? Yeah. Yeah. Can you even read what it says? I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to say it out loud anyways. They're asking for a banner. Eddie, I appreciate the sub, man. What is it? 80? I can't count. How many years is that? Seven. And... $3 months? Crazy. Sometimes I don't even like realize that I've been alive for 7 years. Checked out the portfolio. It's the worst art ever. Okay. Topic of the week. Let's do it. I've been inspired by the likes of Hades and Silksong, and Death Stranding, and playing through the Mario games, where technically kind of not exactly sequels, but they are follow-ups to each other. They are clearly following in the footsteps of the one before it. making improvements and such, or just changes. All right. Sequels. What do you want out of them? Do you prefer innovation or iteration? Essentially, is what I'm asking here. Video game sequels tend to attempt to expand upon every aspect of what came before it. Sometimes they go in completely different directions. Instead, what angle do you prefer? Feel free to drop examples of sequels you think are very well executed, or vice versa, any disappointments. Bonus, but somewhat different topic here. For the sake of conversation, I'm open to discussing games that aren't necessarily labeled as direct sequels, too. There are many ways to perceive what a sequel truly is. This could also be part of the conversation. Do you typically treat these indirect sequels differently? Here are some examples of sequels or follow-ups or the next game in a series. So you have the BioShock games. You have Dark Souls, which like I would consider the follow-ups being like from Dark Souls to Dark Souls 2 is a direct sequel, but then you also have Bloodborne the next year, and then Dark Souls 3 the year after that. Like, whether or not you're going to interpret Bloodborne as a follow-up to Dark Souls 2, technically it was like a spin-off, different team within the same team. I don't know. It's going to get a little bit dicey, but it doesn't really matter. It's going to be different depending on what series you were talking about. So it was basically just asking whether or not that would treat how you take this question differently. Which I feel like the answer is obviously yes. Because you would expect more differences if it's not a direct sequel. But yeah, then we have the Zelda games, which are not necessarily direct sequels, even though they are linked to each other in some ways. Obviously, the Final Fantasy games, very much so not sequels, except when they are, like 10 to 10-2. Then we have things that are direct sequels, Hollow Knight, Silksong, Hades, Hades 2, or prequels. Anyways, what do you expect? Do you prefer when a game makes minor changes or improvements, or is it better when a studio tries to innovate and change things up? King of Dorksire says, for me, it depends on how it's used. I like when a game can pull off both, but I don't expect it. Generally, I don't like innovative sequels when it feels like it throws off the story, but iteration can only go so far. I prefer to see innovation as a personal preference. The story can only pull so much of the weight. Okay. Coming from a more story-based approach here. Innovation in regards, if you're talking about like a narrative, then yeah, you're potentially leaning into trying to just make things wacky or like come off as like to surprise you, I guess. You can run into issues there. Or if yeah, I don't know. Interesting he brings up story, because honestly, when I was writing up this whole thing, I wasn't even really thinking about narratives. It's more so about like what a game plays like, or like the systems that are in the game and whether or not those are added or removed. So when we're talking about a story, I think it's you're definitely focused more on iterating onto a story. You don't want to stray too far from whatever line you were kind of in terms of that. So that definitely makes sense. Jorzilla says, iteration. I want a sequel to a game because I liked what was good about the previous one and want more of it. Bungie made Halo 3 and Reach. They were great, and Reach strayed a little further from the formulas. 343 took the direction with Reach and also hired people who specifically wanted to make Halo 4 their own game. And it was awful, and the series has still not recovered. Iteration wins. If you want innovation, start it as a sequel and then spin it off into its own thing, which has happened with many games, though I don't know specific examples. I mean, that's kind of what happened with like Mario Bros. 2. Or in reverse. There's definitely is other examples. Oh shit, there's a recent one. I know that Splatoon was supposed to had something to do with Mario Sunshine at first. And then they ended up making it separate. Um, I believe this is not really related, but I believe the Vicarious Visions or something was working on. So they did like Tony Hawk stuff, and then they were trying to make a Donkey Kong game that was about like grinding on vines and stuff. So that was going to be like some sort of weird connection to the game feel of the games that they've made in terms of like basically making like a Donkey Kong Tony Hawk game, which would have been interesting. But I believe that game no longer exists, unless somehow that had something to do with turning into Bonanza. But I don't really think it did. See, yeah. So I mostly agree with what he's saying here. I'm not a Halo person, so I can't really like comment directly. I've tried playing the Halo games and really didn't get into them, but I know that Halo 4 and 5 and Infinite are all in their own ways like considered good video games. It's just whether or not the people that are the fans of the actual series treat them as such as Halo games. So like what he's saying, I mean, yeah, it does make sense because you don't want the series that you like to turn into something else. I know that Halo 4 was criticized for like adding sprint, I think, and kind of chasing Call of Duty. Which a lot of games have obviously done. Hey Diva! Welcome on in. Welcome on in. What is that emo? Oh my. But yeah, you can see this happen with various different developers. I'm trying to think because there was something else that I there was something recently that was like turned into a different game. And it's like on the tip of my tongue and I can't remember what it is. Well, I mean, this is not exactly the same thing, but there's been situations obviously with Silksong itself that was supposed to be DLC and then they ended up turning it into a full game. And that's happened with some other games, like I believe, like you just said, Drew. I believe that was the case with Lost Legacy, Uncharted, and I don't know if that was the original intent with Miles Morales. I don't know. But yeah, sometimes you want to add to a game and sometimes you want to it makes sense. If you have an idea, you shouldn't necessarily just try to force it into an IP that already exists. But the problem is that that's less it's on the surface seems less risky because you are like, hey, we're going to attach the Halo brand to this so it's automatically accessible. That's successful. That's less risky. But then it actually is risky if you are risking like alienating your fan base by turning it into a game that is different than like what it is, what it should be, or what people your biggest fans are going to expect from it. So yeah, it's risky either way. You like how Naughty Dog tested how open world design would work with the Lost Legacy, and it worked for a small game. Bring ideas to spin-offs that incorporate what works in the sequel. Yeah. Too many ideas, so they made a new game, like Silksong. Is narrative structure a video game convention? No. Well, like within like it's part of video games, but it's not solely from video games. If that's what I don't know how you're asking it, but yeah, there is narrative structure in video games if that's what you're saying. But they're games that don't include a sequence of events, tasks for the player to do or complete. Are there any games that don't include a sequence of events or tasks for the player to do or to complete? As in, like, you can do them in any order instead? Or, like, are you talking about playing playing a game that has no narrative. You decided not to do the cat paw nails. Probably a good idea, Deep. Those things were scary. Although you could fight somebody with them, that's for sure. Minecraft has no required sequence of events. I mean, a lot of games don't. You just don't. You could just not do them. Like even Zelda, like you could play hundreds of hours of Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom and then not do anything story related. It's not required to play the game. It depends on how open ended whatever the story is. It just I guess that would depend on how much they direct you to the goal or how linear it is. But I don't really know what you're asking. I'm going to I'll come back to that. I'm going to read Bringer's response here. It depends on how sequels are done. I enjoy sequels if they're almost the same game, but they build on the original mechanics, refine those said mechanics from the previous game, and they use what they learned from the first to make a better game. Also, the thing with sequels is if they are made 5 years later, they can use the technological advancements they learned since the last game to develop the game even better with an expanded story, world, or mechanics that could not have been done in the previous game. Well, I don't know what's with the spaces here. For example, say the jump from Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask. They might have used assets from Ocarina of Time to make Majora's Mask in a year, but they already had practice with that game engine, so they were able to make a better game, or a better tuned game with better mechanics. But on the other hand, game sequels can also be done wrong if they are only made for a cash grab. There's a sweet spot with game sequels where they built on the original's game without overstaying its welcome, like how the Assassin's Creed games are now. The first 2 or 3 games were good, but they just let their ideas go out of whack and they ruined the series. Yeah, it's definitely different now because of how long games take to make. It is true that like it's really weird because there's a lot of assets that are obviously shared between something like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and that makes it more realistic and obvious how they were able to turn that game around in like a year or 2 years. But then you think about just how different the tone is and like how much of a different game it feels like the games don't like they feel the same as in like the way that you're interacting and like the way you play and like the buttons you're pushing to do the same similar actions, but like the whole tone and the like atmosphere are obviously completely different. So that's in that way it's surprising that they were able to pull off such a vastly different game in such a short amount of time, which obviously just doesn't work at all anymore because of how long everything takes. But the other like positive to that is, yeah, as games are taking longer to make, from one thing, on one hand, you could expect, it's weird because it's almost like it's both things at once. Because games take longer now, you expect them to be more different between from one game to the next. But in reality, they're less different now because just there aren't those jumps in like technology. You don't see, obviously, especially the jump from like 2D to 3D, or even the jumps from like I don't know, like Uncharted 1 to The Last of Us within the same like generation, even though they're like 6 years apart. It's still crazy that the same studio like made both of those things on the same hardware. And now like you don't really see that because for the most part, a lot of these companies are putting out like one game per console generation. And yeah, it is also weird to see games try, or certain studios try to like keep up the speed of old development of like releasing things within every year or every 2 years, because it usually, in general, I feel like that just tends to backfire, because like obviously people are, well, again, in what way does it backfire? Because sales wise, I mean, not necessarily, because it's like Call of Duty still sells like crazy. Assassin's Creed still sells very well. I'm not sure exactly how Shadows did. But obviously those series still perform well, regardless of whatever like people that are more like in tune with video games and the industry feel about that stuff, and how like redundant they feel. So kind of that also kind of goes both ways. They're making they're reaping the benefits of putting games out so quickly, but also people that are aware of how redundant they feel are like upset by the fact that they're redundant and like it's a put off. Especially like this year with Black Ops 7 coming out after Black Ops 6. Last year it just feels like I just have no desire. I like Call of Duty, but like I just have no desire to even. I might actually. I might try it because I think I'm gonna have it through Game Pass. So I might as well. I'll have to play it on PC though. I don't know. Let me back up a little bit. Okay, I got it, Trumps. Let me know when you're ready for Warzone. I played Warzone quite a bit. I don't have any interest in playing it now. You've watched The Last of Us Part 1, you should watch the second part. Unfortunately, the show kind of, I mean, I don't, as someone who loves The Last of Us game 1 and game 2, I think that the show, some of the stuff in season 2 is good, but some of it is not. It's not as good as the first season. Even though the game is awesome. They kind of mishandled some stuff. Very rushed, I guess, is the main problem, is that it, like, they rush through a lot of things, and that's just kind of weird. But if you don't know what they're rushing through, then if you're watching the show without that knowledge, then maybe it won't feel like that. I don't know. I don't like playing games where I have to make the reward structure. I get that enough in reality. A mix of structured rewards and creativity is best, like Core Keeper or Modern Minecraft. I gotta say, I don't know the difference between OG Minecraft and modern Minecraft. I didn't know that there was any significant difference. As someone who kind of revisited Minecraft a little bit, like 2 years ago, it didn't seem that different. But I also didn't play it very much. Like Assassin's Creed for the story, not the game mechanics. That's valid. That is valid. All right, let me move on here. Ham says, for me, a sequel needs to do something different enough that both the original and the sequel can justify their own existence. I want a sequel to build on ideas presented in the first game while taking them in a new direction, that it doesn't feel like more of the same game. For example, Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal are similar in many ways, but different enough that the sequel doesn't essentially replace the original. I agree. Same thing with the Dark Ages. All three of them are very different. I can revisit both games and have a different experience with each of them, and depending on what I'm in the mood for, I'll go with either one. I like that, but I don't know if I like that in... I guess I'm more okay with that now because games have plateaued to a certain to a pretty significant degree in my eyes, especially over the past like 6-7 years. Like, we're not really advancing that much farther in terms of what games feel like, what they look like, what they sound like, how they run. All of these things like have flattened quite a bit to the point where, because he's mentioning Doom 2016, that's kind of the era I'm referring to, like the beginning of this era, where it's like 2016 and onwards is usually what I refer to as like true modern video games, where like that's the point at which you can go back to it and some of these games feel like they could have came out this year. But if you start going before 2016, that's when you start to have diminishing returns on that. And the farther you go back, the worse it is. So in that way, I kind of do agree, because there's games like it makes it feel weird for me when something like Breath of the Wild was replaced by Tears of the Kingdom to me, because like I just don't, when I think about Zelda now, it's like current, like as of the current Zeldas, post Skyward Sword, when I think about Zelda, like I'm just thinking about Tears of the Kingdom. Like all of it is Tears of the Kingdom to me. Like Breath of the Wild just doesn't exist in my mind now. It just like got erased because Tears of the Kingdom is just better. And that's weird, because Breath of the Wild is way more important. So like I shouldn't just dismiss it like that, obviously. An opposite example is Left 4 Dead 1, Left 4 Dead 2, where the sequel plays so similar to the first game that Valve eventually put every official map from the original into the sequel. Now, there's no reason to go play the first game anymore. Don't get me wrong, Left 4 Dead 2 is a fun game, but it also could have just been an expansion. I don't think it met my personal preference for what makes a good sequel. Interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that, but like I kind of love that. If you make a sequel that's just better, delete the original. Forget about it. I mean, I'm somebody who wants almost every game that existed pre 2016 to get a remake. So, like, literally all of them. So I kind of like that. That's kind of like, again, that's kind of what. Yeah, like so they are doing it with the Switch 2 games. Well, no, those aren't sequels though. They are just taking the game and like putting in DLC, and then they're not really even calling it a new game. They're like, it's this game plus this. I actually really don't like that, because then that's taking the old game and implying it's now better. Even if it is, I don't want to rebuy the game. I don't want to have to hold on to the game to now play a better version of it. Give me a new game with the improvements. I don't like when games get significant updates, but that's a different conversation entirely. GTA 6 trying to incorporate. Well, yeah, AI already is all over everything to some degree. It's going to depend on how things are implemented, whether or not that's an issue. That is also a very different topic that I can't start talking about, or I will get lost. What is a sequel? Well, I mean, it has to be, for it to be a sequel, it has to be a completely new game. Like, even if you're building on an older game, something that's similar, like again, Hades to Hades 2, it's very similar to the first game in a lot of ways, but it's also a completely new game. You can't. The difference would be that they like re-released Hades with a little expansion and then resold it as like a new package. That's just totally different. That's not a sequel. That's just an update or a DLC or an expansion, whatever you want to call it. Every game, depending on what type of game it is going to have a different type of what you would call DLC or an expansion. Like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe got a lot of added stuff to it. Technically, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is what I'm talking about. The only reason that made sense and I don't have a problem with it is because the Wii U failed and nobody played Mario Kart 8. So it's basically a new game to a lot of people because Nintendo just like died for a few years. And then they were like, hold on, we're back. Here's some of the games that nobody played. Now it's not the same situation because millions and millions of people have played all of these games that they're like adding new stuff to. So it makes less sense. Although millions of people bought Mario Kart 8. But nah. Edited to add a bad single player example, Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6. 5 was moving in a combat-focused direction, but it was still a survival horror game. And then 6 was a full-fledged action game that's just set in the RE universe. I think that's a bad example of a sequel because they built on ideas from the previous game, but put an outsized focus on the combat to the point where it essentially moved into a different genre and lost the survival horror elements that are a core part of the series' identity, so it felt more like a spin-off than a sequel. Indeed. Yeah, that's a very good example. And then you have the worst example, like Overwatch 2, where they arguably made the game worse, which is okay, because not every sequel will be better, but they gave no choice to players since they replaced the original with the sequel. Yeah, that one's interesting. I don't really know how to feel about that, because I didn't play it. That's actually that's another thing, huge thing to unpack that's related to this topic. I don't know how to go about that. I don't know if I want to go about that. Let me back up. Yeah, the Resident Evil thing is definitely about an example of it being dealt with poorly because they really did like try to force the series in a different direction. Again, another about the same time period as actually it was the same. Would that be the same year? 2012? I think Resident Evil 6 and Halo 4 are both 2012. So yeah, that would have been the same year where the same thing. It's like, it's not exactly the same thing, but yeah, pushing the success of Call of Duty, just pushing a lot of these companies to make things more action oriented. Maybe you don't have to just entirely pin the blame on Call of Duty, but like obviously that was part of it where it's just like, okay, well, you know what would make this sell more? Let's make it more action-oriented. And Resident Evil 6 did sell very well, so. I mean, they weren't wrong, but people don't like that game for a good reason. I don't. Those were the first two Resident Evils I played, actually. It was 5 and 6. And I was like, this is fine. And then I started playing 7, and I was like, oh, there we go. This is great. And then 2 remake, 4 remake. They got back on track. Yeah, but the Overwatch thing, I feel like I shouldn't comment on it because I didn't play it. I have a lot of thoughts about how these forever games are treated and how they're treated as forever games and how people like attach themselves so much to these forever games. And it's weird because I'm not going to get super into it because this is going to start a different topic, but I do find it odd when people are unwilling to like move on or like want a sequel. Because like I'm always wanting a sequel to whatever I'm playing. I always want a new version. Like I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. But I feel like I'm an outlier on that one. Clearly. We have one more right in here. From Turbo, it depends on what the first game was like and how it ended. If it ended on a cliffhanger, then it's best to continue the story in a sequel. Okay, we're going to the story direction here again. If something major happens at the end, not picking up from that would feel like a huge missed opportunity. If it had a satisfying ending, a sequel that takes place in a different place or a different time works well. Okay, yeah. Even if it's not like directly related. Also, I do not want the sequel to be too different from the first one. Jak and Daxter is a perfect example. It went from being a bright, charming 3D platformer to a much darker, grittier, less colorful 3D platformer introducing guns. It's got some good stuff for sure, but the series has since then had an identity crisis. Yeah, I specifically agree with that example. I liked Jak 1, and then by the time, I tried Jak 2, and I was like, what? No, I'm good. They like GTA'd it. It was very weird. Was not a fan of that. Especially like, it's such a drastic change that just feels off to me, for sure. I agree. How much would you say a game has to change for it to be a sequel rather than just adding to the first game? I mean, literally adding to the first game. That's like, it's a very literal thing. That's not, I'm not talking about like an opinion. I'm talking about, like, for example, I think, maybe we're not referring to the same thing. I'm referring to like Nintendo having new versions of these older games now, like for the Switch 2 versions, where they're doing like Super Mario Party plus Jamboree, and they're going to add like, I don't know, like 10% new stuff and then call it a new package. It's basically, again, just an expansion. It's literally just the first game plus some extra stuff. They're putting it in a new box, and it is a game with an expansion. That's not a sequel because it is the first game in its entirety, plus a little bit of something. And they're doing that with, they did it with Kirby. They're doing it with Mario Wonder. So that's just straight up not a sequel. A sequel is a completely new game. Regardless of whether or not you're using similar or the same assets as something else that came before it. You're still starting off with like, this is a completely new game. This is not 90% something else. It's just the difference between a game having DLC or an expansion and then you buying that separately. It's just that they're putting it together as a new package. But yeah, it's not a sequel. So my thoughts on all of this is that I'm heavily in the camp of iteration for sure. Not necessarily for the exact same reason that Jorzilla was talking about. He's implying like Halo was ruined by them trying to make a different kind of game. I don't like, sometimes I can kind of agree with that. But yeah, in general, I'm always weirdly frustrated when people talk about wanting things to be innovative constantly, or like saying that they won't get into a new game or are not interested in it because it's not doing enough things that are new. If you liked the first thing, that makes sense. Like, for instance, I am not interested in playing Ghosts of Yotei because it seems like it's very iterative, and I didn't like Ghost of Tsushima that much. Therefore, I'm assuming I won't care that much for Ghost of Yotei. So it makes sense in that way. But when people are like, I love this game, like, I don't, even something like Breath of the Wild, be like, I love Breath of the Wild, but I don't like Tears of the Kingdom at all, or like, I'm not interested in it. I'm like, but it's so similar. Like, a lot of the formulas are so similar. Like, it's weird that you could be that put off by something that shares so many similarities and so many improvements. Or just being like, even something like Hades to Hades 2 being like, I don't want to buy Hades 2 because it seems like it's very similar to 1. I loved 1, but 2's not doing enough different for me. Or they did play it, and then people are like, yeah, it just doesn't do enough different for me. I don't really look at games like that, I guess. It's a little different for me. If I like something, I want more of it in the form of a new game that will obviously do things differently to some degree. But I'm still leaning more in the direction of iteration. Like that's what I'm looking for. Innovation is generally found in like new IP, and even there, I love iteration. That's actually another point. Even if we're not talking about sequels, I'm still heavily leaning in the iteration direction where I want games to be like not copying, but taking influence from other games that I like. Like games that are influenced by Dark Souls, I'm like, heck yeah, I love that. I'm so glad that you are influenced by Dark Souls and are now making a game that has a lot of similarities to the game that I love. But I've noticed that a lot of people will talk about that and be like, oh my God, they're just copying Dark Souls, so I don't care. This sucks. It's like, what? I love everyone borrowing stuff from each other when it comes to ideas. Obviously, I'm not going to start this topic, but it can go too far when you get into something like Power World, with the assets being more than inspired. So as long as you don't go that route, we're good. My favorite, definitely my favorite. But yeah, I love sequels. I always want sequels. I want sequels to everything that I love. I want sequels to happen forever. But I also love when, studios try new things. Of course. I like a little bit of both. But there's a certain point where a sequel can be... Oh yeah, we got ads. It's a good time for me to stop talking for a minute. Ugh. Yeah, my voice is starting to go. Whew. So much talking. I'm trying to think of an example of what I was about to say. Ads should be over soon. So there's definitely examples of too many sequels in some cases. Like I was just thinking about, and it's always, I don't know, it's going to be different depending on who you ask. Obviously, it's getting more, it's very opinion based, but it almost isn't the same topic, but like Insomniac making Spider-Man and then Miles Morales and then making Spider-Man 2, and then they're going to be doing a Spider-Man 3, they're going to be doing maybe a Venom game that's related, and it's like I want them to make something else even though I like those games. At some point it's like, okay, stop making sequels, make something new. Which I mean, they're doing Wolverine too, but I mean that also feels similar because it's also Marvel. I'm trying to think, there was something else that just came to mind. Obviously something like Assassin's Creed, like we were talking about. It's just like, okay, you're doing another one. Like at some point, everyone's gonna have a different time period in which they get tired of something. Same thing with Call of Duty. It's like, okay, you're doing another one. It does happen. But at the same time, like if there's something that I really love, I don't know if there's anything that I really, really like that has had so many sequels that I'm like, stop making sequels to this. Like I can't think of anything. Like there's a little bit of a gap here, but there's a lot of God of War games. There's 8 of them. And like I like all of them and I want them to make more. That's a lot of games. Obviously there's a million Zelda games. I guess like Pokemon, I guess Pokemon fits this, but at the same time it doesn't, because I don't want them to make I just don't trust Game Freak to make anything. I'm not like, go make a different game so that I can enjoy it. I'm just like, whatever you make, it's probably not going to be very enjoyable. So I just given up on that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there is. I just love, I always want a sequel, I guess, is what I've determined. Because I can't think of anything that has so many sequels that I want them to stop making sequels. Not a game, but the Avengers Marvel movies got annoying at the rate they were pumping them out for a while there. Oh, I mean, yeah, you're preaching to the choir. I've only seen like a couple of them, and I definitely got very tired of people constantly talking about them. Even not watching them myself, it was just like overwhelming, the amount of Marvel talk that there was constantly for years and years and years. It was exhausting. Not even being a part of it, really. Like I only watched, what did I watch? I watched Iron Man. I think I may have seen Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. And I think my friend made me watch the Winter Soldier, Captain America Winter Soldier, I think. And that's it. That's all I've seen. And I'm just like, I was out on that a long time ago. And that's why, like, I don't like that it's kind of infected video games to some degree. It hasn't nearly that much, but like Insomniac specifically, to me, it does suck that they have turned into a Marvel studio and are maybe still they're making another Ratchet and Clank game, apparently, based on the leaks. But like, man, I just wish that they weren't stuck with that. But also, it's like, would they even be able to survive otherwise? That's the double-edged sword of it all. Like maybe they're only truly thriving and surviving because they are able to make these massive hits. Probably. And they're only massive hits because they're attached to IP that people are going to automatically buy. Again, kind of going in a different direction with the topic. But yeah, so I get the fatigue with that. But I guess what I'm saying is I've never been a part of a fandom, or like I've never been a fan of something that has been overdone. Even as a fan of like a lot of Nintendo IP that there've been plenty of, I still want more of them because they're always like Nintendo does do a lot of like intricate innovation in a lot of ways. They will take an IP like Mario and make it pretty different every time, even though there's some similarities, but they really do experiment with a lot of different things in Mario and Zelda. So it does not feel like they're just like copy and pasting things. But generally, I love iteration and want just kind of like expansion on similar ideas. Or sometimes it's just like about adding new ways to play the same thing, which is kind of why I like roguelikes so much, because it's like, yeah, you get a feel for how it works, and then you get to keep playing the same game over and over again, but it's different. That's kind of how, like, I like when sequels are like that. It's like, I'll play the same game again, but make it different at the same time. I liked the thing in the first place, so I'm going to like it again. Just do it a little bit different, so it's not exactly the same. I'm asking the Switch 2 stuff because I wasn't sure what you meant about sequels and structures and narrative after Sushi Drew's example. The response Just about adding maps to old game. Adding maps. What? Oh no, I don't know what game that was about. Yeah, the older Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire, I guess, were better. I don't know. I think I've seen those too, or at least two of them. But also that like it wasn't getting just like it wasn't everywhere at that point either. Just constantly beat over the head with it. Trying to think what else. Did I answer my own question? Yeah, no. So let me see. What are my own question here? Examples of sequels I think are very well executed, or disappointments. Disappointments I can think of. Red Dead 2. I was very disappointed in Red Dead 2. I loved Red Dead 1. Could not deal with how 2 played. I see that, Brian. I don't know if I'm going to do that. Considering how I don't think I can fit all of what I'm saying into a YouTube short. It's much too broad. It would have to be something more specific if you want to like revise what you wrote. You've never played Red Dead 2, you're offended? I don't like it. Well, that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I'm trying to think. Hey, Ham. I mean, sequels that I think are very well executed, I could think of like a million. I mean, like I feel like most sequels are just great. Like I'm rarely disappointed by a sequel. I would really have to. That's why something like Red Dead 2 sticks out to me. I mean, I guess Dark Souls 2, which I wrote here, a little bit of a disappointment, but not really, because I still love it. It's just a kind of a misstep in some ways. Oh, I can think of another disappointment was Mario Strikers Battle League. I was sad. I was extremely excited for that and then very let down. Because every match just played out the same way. It got very boring very quickly, which I was just like, how did you even manage to do that? First two Strikers games are great. It's very weird. Yeah, it wasn't a matter of like how much was everyone was freaking out because like there weren't enough characters, and I'm like, whatever, that doesn't matter. I was just each match felt so similar to every other match that like there wasn't much room to experiment. Pretty quickly within the first week, it was discovered like how to play correctly, and then every match ended up being people trying to do that one thing, and then it was just so boring. And I got really good at it in that week, and then I was just like, what? I just have to keep resorting to the same thing, and I just keep winning. It's like, okay, no, that's not fun. There was no like improvisation in a multiplayer sports game. You kind of need to use your brain. Mario Bros. 2 and Zelda 2 were controversial. That's true. Yeah, a lot of people. I don't mind Mario 2. I've never played Zelda 2. Mario 2 is cool, but yeah, it's very different for sure. That's definitely a good example of one that branches off. Disappointed a lot of people. But yeah, I pretty much like. In most cases, I like whatever the newest game is in a lot of series because I think that things are just constantly being improved on. So like I'm huge on sequels. I love it. and remakes for the same reason. All right, I think my voice is pretty much gone. I don't know if I could talk anymore. That was a good one, though. Lasted almost 3 hours here. Ocarina of Time remake. It'll happen at some point. It'll happen at some point. All right. Well, that was a good episode. Whoops. Thank you, contributing, everybody. Oh, hold on. Started asking all that because I wanted to say that I didn't like how Sims 4 changed timelines and disconnected from the Bella Goth lore. Bella Goth. Was disappointed, unsatisfied by this in the sequel. Changed timelines. I didn't even know there were stories in The Sims, so that just completely throws me off. I did not know that was a thing. I didn't know there was like canon stories. I thought the whole point of those games was to like make your own story. Leave it to me to arrive at the end. Yeah, it's been a few hours. I started the stream a little bit early, but then I started the Ludo Lingo at 6:30. So it's been almost 3 hours. When sequels don't make sense in context of their prequels. I'm sure there's examples of that. I don't know if I mean, I would have to go looking. People argue that with like Last of Us 2, but I disagree with it. I like what they did. Even though it's like intentionally aggravating. You're saying you don't like that in a sequel. I mean, yeah. It would it it would be nice for it actually to make sense. Oh my god. All right. Yeah. That's going to be it. I think I've run out of things to say. It's fun. I will have to come up with another topic of the week for next week. If anybody wants to suggest one, feel free to put it in the suggestions or ideas section. And maybe it'll get picked, or at least like give an idea of something else to be picked. Also, if people want to just add questions, you can add your questions or your opinions on games in the questions section under Ludo Lingo. And maybe I'll get to a question. Yeah. Oh man, I need so much water. I drank a lot of water, but I just need so much more.